This has Bulls fans shocked, or does it? We're going to be talking about who has the most pressure on them for this upcoming season. Is it the front office? Is it the players? Is it the head coach? We're going to be talking about that today on Bulls Digest. This is your host, Rico Greenhowe. And yes, we're talking about who has the most pressure on them this season. And I think just when we look at this, I think that the players, some of the players are going to have more pressure than the front office and the head coach. And so let's start with the front office. All right. And so going from the top and then trickling down to the bottom here, I think that the front office does not have very much pressure at all. When we look at AK and we look at Mark Eversley, I think that they are very safe. I think that ownership is in a situation where they have given AK the keys to pretty much just clean up and just take care of business, do whatever you have to do. Just make sure that you keep things on the budget that I would like. I think that that is really what I get from AK and Mark Eversley and what their situation is. I don't think that the management team or the ownership team is going to come down and make drastic changes to management, even if the Chicago Bulls fan base decides not to come to games or whatever that looks like. I don't think that you're going to see any changes anytime soon. And in fact, I look at what Casey Johnson had said about this particular situation that's going on in the front office. You know, he talked about John Paxson. He talked about how he had been with the organization for 17 years. And really, it took for him to go ahead and decide to leave in order for that change to be made. He also talks about Jerry Krause, and he talks about him moving on. It wasn't like he was just, let go. So, that just really suggests that AK, Mark Eversley, those particular people in the front office are going to be just fine. So now we move to the head coach. All right. And so another thing that Casey Johnson talks about, or he's talked about before in the past, is that usually the Chicago Bulls do not like to have two head coaches that they're paying for. Meaning this, if you fire a head coach, then you're going to be paying for that coach to be at home. And then you're also paying for your current head coach. And, it's reported that the ownership does not want to do that. So then that suggests to me, with Billy Donovan and his extension, that it's more than likely not going to happen with Billy Donovan being fired. You're going to see him eventually just either decide to leave or, the Bulls just go ahead and go in a different direction with him naturally leaving the organization. It's not going to be a situation where he's fired. And so I think that he is essentially not feeling pressure either. And here's the exact quote that I'm looking at when I looked at this before, where they're talking about the circumstances that have been around management and then coaching as well. And they talk about the fact that, yes, Billy Donovan has a voice and he's respected by ownership and management. So he's not going anywhere, talking about the fact that, yes, they do not want to be in a situation to pay two coaches. And so, just to make it simple, I think that the front office, along with the head coach, they're fine. Now we shift focus over to the players on this current roster who might be facing some pressure this year. And I'm going to start with a couple vets. And I'm going to start with two vets that have two different situations. And I think that the pressure is on both of them. All right. And I'm going to start with Lonzo Ball and Zach LaVine. I think that starting with Lonzo Ball, he is in a pressure situation to show that he can still play in the NBA and that he could help a team win. So I think that, he's going to have a ton of pressure each game to show that he is healthy, to show that there is no setbacks, because I think that, aside from what's going to go on with the Chicago Bulls, he sees himself playing some more years in the NBA. And in order for him to do that, he's going to have to show that he can still perform at a high level. So I think that there's pressure there, even though I think that he's theoretically winning every time that he gets a chance to show us that he's back doing 5-on-5 scrimmages. He's showing us the drills. There's no setbacks. Every time that he gets a chance to play in a game, every time he scores a point, gets an assist, looks more like himself. I think that that's going to be a huge win for him, and I can feel that that pressure will be relieved each time he's out there. So I think that there is a little bit of pressure there on Lonzo Ball. With Zach LaVine, he's in the pressure of, just this whole trade talks and all these things that are around him, whether it's the injuries, the contracts, what is he going to do this year? And he's essentially trying to show that he should be traded for and that he can help a team win. All right. And so that is going to be a lot of pressure. And then he's also going to have to somehow keep the relationship okay and manage that situation as he tries to maneuver his way out of Chicago, right? Because we've heard that there's no trades for him. We hear all this stuff in the media. Who knows what about that? But the reality is he's going to be with the Chicago Bulls, and he's going to need to play well in order to get somebody to jump in and trade for him. So I think that there is pressure there with those particular veteran players. I think Vooch is in a situation where he's like, look, regardless if the Chicago Bulls trade me or not, he's already come out and said that he's looking to play 4 years. And he knows he's got 2 years with the Chicago Bulls. He feels like he has 2 more years after that. And he's already come out and said that he expected for the Chicago Bulls to move in a different direction once they didn't get it done last year. So I don't think that there's any real pressure on Vooch. So that leads us to more players. And when we're looking at this youth movement, the players that could really feel the pressure there, and I think it starts with Patrick Williams. I think that when you look at Patrick Williams, you look at what he's done thus far, hasn't really taken off. It's been a lot of injuries, the up and down play, and now he's on a new 5-year deal. I could see that there has to be some pressure for him to show that he's worthy of this new deal with the Chicago Bulls, and that he's worth more to the Chicago Bulls in the future, right? Because I think that if Patrick Williams were not to work out with the Chicago Bulls, there's a chance he could go on to a better team in a better situation and be fine. But I think that there is a ton of pressure because you want to show that, yes, if the Chicago Bulls were to move on, that, you still have some value elsewhere. So I think that there is going to be a lot of pressure on Patrick Williams, especially when you look at the numbers. Only 10 points a game and 4 rebounds a game, for a player that many people compared to a Kawhi Leonard situation. And I know Kawhi Leonard, that's tough. A tough comparison, but for Patrick Williams to even get to that level, he's going to have to improve as a scorer. He's going to have to improve as a rebounder, and he's more importantly going to have to show up for work, and that's be there on the court. And so I think that there is a ton of pressure for him to show that he can be healthy and he can progress. Next, I'm going to say Josh Giddey. I think that Josh Giddey is another one of these players in the youth movement that are under a lot of pressure because Josh Giddey is going into a restricted free agency, and there is this question about him. Can he shoot the basketball at a high level? What is going to happen when defenses start to pack it in the paint on him? Like, can he take it to the next level? There's even the question of, can he be an all-star? But more importantly, I think for him, it's proving that he deserves to be paid, right, for this next contract. So I think that there is a lot of pressure here. He's already come out and said that he didn't want to come off the bench for OKC or take a lesser role with OKC to stay with them. He's now thrust into a position where more than likely he's going to be a starter. He is going to get the minutes that he's looking for. He's going to have the ball in his hands. It's really up to him now to see if he can unlock what a lot of people really think he can and get to that next level as a player, and hopefully for him, obviously get to the bag, which is that next big contract for him. So, I think that these are some players that could be, I think, under the most amount of pressure for the Chicago Bulls this upcoming season. So let me know now in the comments what you're thinking. Do you think that, I do think that it is AK think Mark Eversley that have the pressure? I think it is Billy Donovan. Or do you think it is the players that I have listed? Like, do you think that, yes, these veteran players like Lonzo Ball, Zach LaVine, they have something to prove? There's a lot of pressure there. The young players that I mentioned, like Patrick Williams and Josh Giddey, those players seem to be the players in this youth movement that have the most pressure around them. Let me know what you're thinking in the comments. And as we get ready to jump out of here, I just want to thank you for liking and sharing and subscribing to the channel, and let you know that 65.6% of you that watch the channel are not subscribed to the channel. So make sure that you continue to lob it off the glass and slam dunk on that subscribe button for me, as it means a lot as we try to reach 5,000 subscribers before the NBA season starts. And even though we are trying to figure out who has the most pressure on them for this upcoming season, and it appears as I ramble on that really nobody has any pressure, which I'm not sure if that's a good thing. I'm still saying go Bulls, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.